Hello everybody. You might have seen my video about the Takini, Shie-Han wars, and that's how it's pronounced, Takini, Shie-Han. And you might have been a little confused about what happened. Of course, if you didn't see it, go check out that video, because it'll make more sense in this one. But I'll cover everything you probably need to know. I'll just break it down. So Shie-Han, the Red in Nation Red, which you can see here, launched a surprise invasion into Takini. This section here shows what is official territory. This is occupied. This is annexed. You might be wondering why they didn't attack here at the white border. Well, here's the thing: Takini and Shie-Han relations were already at an all-time low, and there was war clearly. And Takini expected if there was an invasion, they would attack from here. But this land was generally not as militarized, so they attacked here. Shie-Han continues the invasion, and Takini demands that Shie-Han backs off, but Shie-Han doesn't. And throughout the war, there was no invasions here. That's because Takini started arming the border just in case an actual invasion of it came, because they predicted that the real invasion was coming soon, but they still had forces down here. Oh, and Takini and Shie-Han both prepare soldiers here to get them ready to fight in the war. Shie-Han makes pretty good progress here, and first Takini forces arrive right here at the tip, and you might have noticed this area, Bukinia. Now you'll see little things like this, Bukinia, Eden, Flarkey, those are the general kind of provinces within Takini, in case you're confused. Of course, Takini, hold on, I should probably try on laser pointer. Of course, Takini, Bukinia was obviously bigger, but it got completely surrounded. This, of course, isn't the entirety of Bukinia. Alright. And in case you're wondering, hold on. More skirmishes happens, and Shie-Han ends up winning a lot of those skirmishes. More progress, and now they have a three-pronged offensive plan. They want to take out forces near the border, they want to attempt to capture the capital, and they want to cut off forces here because there are general cliffs here and there are forces here. So hopefully, Shie-Han was hoping that if they cut them off, they would have to surrender and they could utilize them. And Bukinia made slight progress on a street siege. More Takini resistance, but Shie-Han makes pretty good progress. And you see, they're actually getting pretty close to the capital. Also, Flarkey here has been surrounded, or a lot of it. And so, how come Bukinia, throughout the entirety of the war, they barely took any damage? They just didn't get attacked that well. The thing was, Bukinia managed to hide themselves so well that they kept in contact with Takini, but Shie-Han thought they had everything, but they didn't know if forces were still hanging out here. This was due to reasons you can probably think. Give your honest opinion why in the comments if you want to know. I guess, but yeah, they also had generally pretty good forces holding out there, and they actually had decent military bases there. Over here, they're attempting to close in and help Bukinia out. Flarkey, Shie-Han surrounds Flarkey and is now making amazing progress against them. In case you're wondering why Flarkey did worse, it's because they were surrounded on all sides, and generally the forces were kind of coming everywhere, kind of pow, 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 pow. A little more progress. Takini makes slightly more progress. Raider also gets surrounded here, and Takini starts attempting to push them away from the capital. A campaign is attempted to lead right through here. Flarkey is the siege ends, and Shie-Han is nearly in the complete surroundment of Takini forces here. That's pretty much it. Alright, and now Bukinia is now making more progress under siege, and Shie-Han nearly pushed out Takini here. Forces in Bukinia finally get more supplies, and Takini starts making massive offensive. The main Shie-Han forces attempting to make it to the capital are now pushed away, and this siege under Bradier has been broken by managing to take a bit here. The borders are interesting, but what's this? Partisans? I think that's how you say it. Anyway, they've taken control of part of the Shie-Han occupation and are attempting to liberate as much as they can. Now this is what's called the People's Siege. It was initially one of the siege because they were pretty much cut off, so the people had to rely themselves. And if you saw the entirety of the video, you'll know how much progress they did. Takini now starts the Paran plan to push out Shie-Han occupation. They're actually doing pretty good. Bukina makes progress. There's more progress over here. Shie-Han tries one more attempts to surround them and attempts to lead a campaign to surround more troops here, but they fail. Takini now attempts to liberate the partisans, and the partisans make progress under siege, as you can see here, and now more progress happening. This is the first thing where Bukina actually has some setbacks, but they have a little bit of progress here. In case you're wondering about all these weird stuff, well, it's because of what I'm using. I'm using Google Slides for all this. Takini is now the Paran plan is now making pretty good progress, and they are starting to push out all the main sticky outy bits. And as you can see, that was major progress on Takini's side. Shie-Han attempts to yet again push away Takini. More attempts to split Shie-Han in half. The siege looks like it's coming to an end down here, and Shie-Han tries to take more lands. A bit of a pause. Bukina now makes major progress, or more progress, and so do the partisans. They are starting to push them out of the north, out of the east, and have nearly ended the siege here, and will share border. But never mind. Just ignore what I said about that share border. It makes no sense. But Shie-Han attempts to make progress to push them away here. And the siege of Bukina has ended. Well, I didn't put it on the next slide, which I usually do whenever progress ends and everything, is because there's going to be something else on the other side. Bukina also attempts to launch an operation to liberate the partisans, and more progress on Takini. And our forces in Eden here are now completely surrounded as another siege begins. Yeah, if you see here, and they make pretty good progress. Takini, or Shie-Han, makes a bit of progress attempting to set back the forces in Bukina, but of course, if you've already seen. And now Takini enters official Shie-Han territory. Now, in case you're wondering why this happened, there's actually multiple reasons. Number one is that Takini wanted to try to draw away more Shie-Han troops so they could actually get them out of the general occupation. And number two, they wanted to make progress against Shie-Han. They just didn't want to have all the Shie-Han troops. They kind of wanted to, really mess up Shie-Han. Shie-Han attempts to unite with the siege forces. If you saw them on the last side, right here, they attempt to unite with the siege forces to evacuate them. Takini and Bukina is not independent, in case you're wondering. They both lead a pretty dang good operation to attempt to liberate forces here. I think these are two different colors, but that might just be me. More progress also in invading Shie-Han. And here you can see they have finally reached forces here, and the People's Siege, as I say it, or the partisans, have managed to make more progress under the siege. They also are now cut off here, forces in Eden, and Shie-Han attempts to make more progress. As you can see, the original siege force in Eden becomes sieged again. Now they have even less territory, and the partisans have been liberated from Shie-Han. They also make an attempt, because they might attempt to cut off them here, this small little corridor, so they take away more territory here. The forces in Eden are pretty much done. More progress on invading Shie-Han, and decent progress in pushing them out from the north. There's pretty much, Shie-Han forces in Eden surrender. There's pretty much no hope for Shie-Han in capturing the capital now, the Takini capital. But they still attempt. They reunite forces here because they were cut off, so they start making more progress. Oh yeah, a lot more progress here as well. Shie-Han attempts to cut off the forces here. They're going to lead a campaign to kind of siege them and hopefully push them away. They also attempt to push away here, so that way it won't be as easy to cut off, but they're starting to get pushed back a little more. Shie-Han now short of supplies. They used a lot in the battles are now attempting to send out one more counteroffensive on hopes of recapturing as much territory as they can. It doesn't go too bad, but then they kind of fail, and Takini continues the advance into Shie-Han territory. The attempted campaign here fails. This is the last time Shie-Han will take territory from Takini. As they push out, and Shie-Han fails to recapture more land. And a missile launch from Shie-Han. This actually kind of slowed down Takini, because they had a lot more air superiority. They would have absolutely swept through within 2 days. But since the missile destroyed the airport, they had to rely on further away aircraft, so they kind of had to transport them to the closest one. And then, so air support was kind of slow, but they still led decent campaigns as the forces are split in two. They're still connected to the mainland, but they're split in two. More Shie-Han forces surrendered. This campaign over here is ended, and all Shie-Han forces are now pushed out of Takini, and now the war takes the terrible turn for Shie-Han. An offensive here in the not as resource. In case you're wondering, that's another reason why they didn't attempt to evade from the borders earlier the Shie-Han War, because it wasn't as resource rich, and it would be harder to supply soldiers. The campaign continues down here, a new campaign, a general offensive campaign, and the campaign to take the capital. And Takini forces are now just held outside the capital, but Shie-Han makes more progress. Or no, Takini makes more progress. A lot of progress there. General day where no progress was made. And then Takini managed to capture the capital, make slight more progress, but then Shie-Han officially surrenders. And the borders change now. Instead of Takini having its normal borders now advance, and Shie-Han has lost a lot more territory. There might be a new video, there might be more lore behind this, more extra things coming out about the war. Maybe the war, and if it is going to be the war of the new border, as Shie-Han attempts to retake more land, but we'll have to see. There might have been some questions you might have had throughout the thing. So let's begin. I answered the main one on why they didn't why they didn't invade here, probably, but the three-pronged offensive had three things. One, they knew that cliffs were here, so they attempted to cut off forces here. Two, the initial cliffs were here, kind of surrounding them, but they built a nation below, so they're going to attempt to take over that before continuing. Three, they were going to attempt to take all the land here because it had actually a lot of soldiers, and general space operations could be launched here because that was the only space station, so they attempted to take that, but they initially failed. And a few things. Bukinia nearly became independent, as it took them a while before they actually got supplies. And the partisans nearly became independent until the siege until they managed to get liberated, because they had to take things into their own hands, kind of. And of course, Bukinia and the partisans would of course become independent rejoin whenever the war was over. A lot of progress here was made. And why did they enter territory? Well, I already said that, and yeah. See, that might just about be every question you have, but if you do have any more questions generally, just leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Thank you guys for watching the general breakdown of this video, of the original video. Go check that one out if you already haven't, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye.